remember, you know, that seed was definitely planted, and I remember reaching out to the teacher who taught us our childbirth, and you know, thinking, okay, that's going to happen at some point. And what happened was, unfortunately, our mother got sick, um, and had a long illness. And at the end of the illness, she passed away. And at that point, my son was, I think, third grade age. And when we were cleaning out all of her files and her things, you know, at different times she had talked to me about birth. And again, I was a dancer. At one point, our mother went to Russia and she worked with these midwives, and she brought back this movie about these midwives that would help women and families give birth in the Adriatic Sea. And I remember her showing me this video, and I was in the company, I was a ballerina, and I was like, Mom, I don't want to see this. I don't want to see this. It was, you know, it was weird. It was just weird. But I remember her always tried to like kind of convey, you know, this beauty of birth to me, and I just wasn't ready. And then when we were cleaning out her stuff, I remember finding a little file, and it had my name on it. And inside, get emotional.
Whenever I'm telling my story and I always talk about Mom, I'm like, I'm sorry.
No.
It never goes away, and I just can't help it. I cried the whole talk.
So when we were cleaning out her stuff, there was a file and it had my name, and it was filled with articles on breastfeeding and childbirth. And I just remember being so touched and felt such a calling and such a just this dedication that I wanted to continue her work. Yeah, so I just really felt so good about being able to continue her work to help empower women and new families in this. And so I went through the process to become a childbirth educator, and was so hands-on, you know, with my son. But it was a really appropriate time, you know, to start fostering passion in myself as well, and just started these groups of working with childbirth with pregnant couples, and just helping educate them. And I found that it was so, the information was wanted so badly. The first birth besides my own that of having my son that I got to be in was this couple, and this woman that called me who said, I just finished a childbirth class at the hospital and it terrified me, and I don't want all the interventions that they're talking about, and you know, can you please give me, you know, come and help me. And at that point I was a childbirth educator, so I'd worked with a lot of couples, but I wasn't the one with them. And I would get, you know, stories after they'd have their babies, and some would have these amazing experiences, and some would still get a little caught up in the system, or, you know, sometimes interventions are really important and needed. But I remember thinking, wow, one day how amazing to get to be with them, you know, and to get to sort of hold their hand through it and really support them. And that is something called being a doula. And I'd been a childbirth educator, and I thought, I kind of think I want to be a doula as well. Now, birth being what it is, you don't know when it's going to happen. You don't know how long the process is going to take. And so when my son was little, I just couldn't really commit that much to being up all night and away for days. And so I kept being a childbirth educator, and once in a while a doula, just to kind of make sure I knew what I was talking about. But I was really also, as I worked with the couples, I saw how many women were not connected to their bodies, and to go into this childbirth, you know, this we liken it to a marathon. I mean, it's the most physical, you know, thing that you go through. And as a dancer, I felt like I was pretty connected to my body, but I was starting to work with women who I realized I needed more time with them, and I needed to help them connect. And so I became certified as a prenatal yoga instructor. So luckily I live near the beach, and so I just immediately started classes on the beach. And it was just wonderful, has been wonderful to just have pregnant women come and meet me, and we are, you know, right there on the sand listening to the waves, and so connected to nature. And so I've been lucky enough and really blessed to work with many women, and to help them connect to their bodies, and then that hopefully is as well helping them to get into the childbirth, the mode of what it takes, you know, to really be present in the birth. And so from there, I was getting so close with these couples, whether I was in their birth or I was working with them for months before the birth, you know, getting close with I was training the partners to really be there and support, you know, the women having the babies. And then what happened after was not always, then the breastfeeding issue came up, where they might have this amazing birth or not amazing birth, but then suddenly they were having breastfeeding issues. And again, this was something that for me was so amazing. And I had the support of my mother and the support of my sister and all my aunts and grandmother who were so pro breastfeeding, and everybody was right there to support me. And then suddenly I was working with couples and it wasn't going as smooth as how it was for me. So I felt like I really wanted to find a way to continue to be there for them, but I didn't have the knowledge. So there came another, I found out about the nearest next seminar to help that. And I became a lactation specialist so that I could also support them, because I found you're so vulnerable, and it's not like you're going to open up to everybody, but I'd already built this relationship. So if they had already had the baby, I found that it was easier for them to come to somebody that they had already been really intimate with throughout this experience. So becoming a lactation specialist so that I had the knowledge, and then starting what's called a La Leche group. La Leche League is an organization that's founded by women to support other women having that are breastfeeding, which was really against the grain. They started, I believe, in the 50s, and it was this very small group of women, and formula companies were really upping their game and talking about, it's not as dignified to breastfeed your baby and there's no reason. And these women kind of intuitively said, this isn't right. And even their own doctors were telling them, there's no reason, there's no benefit to breastfeeding. And these women knew that there's no way that was true. And so they started this organization called La Leche League, which is an international organization. And when I was breastfeeding my son and I ever had any question, all I needed to do was call them. They're all volunteers, and I would have somebody, right there giving me the answers and just pointing me in the right direction. So it felt really important to me to continue that support as well. And so in the town that I live, I started with, I had been working with a friend who went through my childbirth class. And then I was her doula when she had her second baby. And she was more presently in it. At that time, Gabriel wasn't breastfeeding anymore and was a little bit older. And I said, you're really still in it and more valid for this time if you did it with me. Let's partner up together and start this La Leche League in our town of Malibu. So we did, and that's been going now, I guess, 7 or 8 years now. And so we have meetings where we just support. It's completely free, and we do it as volunteers, and I'm on a hotline where anybody can call. And it's my favorite thing, is to just sit and support a new mom, because there's so much misinformation and there's not really a doctor for breastfeeding. Pediatricians are up about the weight and, certain things, and somebody who knows how breastfeeding works can really support somebody with the right knowledge that they need. So starting as a childbirth educator, being a doula whenever I could, becoming a prenatal yoga instructor to facilitate that connection with the body, and then helping with breastfeeding. That all just feels to me like this wonderful little package that I can offer. I feel like as time goes on, I just see even more and more how valuable and how important and how sacred the birth process is. I feel like in our time right now, I mean,